The Legion Ballpark will now officially be known as Driven Energy Legion Ballpark, thanks to a new partnership approved by City Council this week. The sponsorship deal will see the local oil field service company paying the city $12,500 a year for 5 years in exchange for the naming rights of the ballpark. In addition, Driven Energy will be covering the full cost of replacing signage for the new park's name.
People often ask, where does my tax dollars go? There's an example that it's not going from your tax dollars to pay for that. It's part of the sponsorship program, and it goes to the individual or the company that's putting out the sponsorship.
Albers encourages any local business that's interested in sponsoring a city-owned facility to reach out or call Lloydminster's Recreation and Cultural team. He says there's numerous opportunities for sponsorships.
We welcome any other interested people, and we've got some other things that we've talked about, the bench program. Maybe you've thought about dedicating a bench to a long-term employee or someone that's made a significant investment in this community in a business and no longer with us. You want to leave a memorial, there's those opportunities.
The Royal Canadian Legion Branch 39 in Lloydminster has expressed support for the name change. For some, it's an opportunity to dress up, hit the streets, and consume as much sugar as possible. For others, it's a chance to kill the lights and pretend that no one's home. Regardless of your style, here's a look at how Halloween is shaping up in Lloydminster.
My neighbors hate me.
Yeah, that's Fred Boone and his family have once again gone the extra mile in reminding the community that it's Halloween. With hundreds of decorations and more than $5,000 put into the display, some might baffle at the effort put forth. But for Fred, the motivation is simple.
I've been doing it now 16 years, and I just do it for other people to enjoy.
After many trick-or-treaters opted to skip the holiday last year, Fred says that he's hopeful for a return to form this Sunday.
One year we actually had RCMP here directing traffic. There were so many kids there.
Outside of decorations and costumes, the Lloydminster RCMP has reported an increase in property damage over recent Halloweens. Constable Kelsey Davidge says that some are quick to forget that even with a costume, actions can come with consequences.
If someone has a pumpkin outside, don't grab that and smash it, right? It is someone else's property and they've put it out there.
Across the border city, at Artistic Dance and Costume, business has been slow, but as owner Lynn Seabury explains, that isn't necessarily out of the ordinary.
People are always slow in Lloydminster getting going. We're hoping to get better this week. Whether Halloween happens or not, there is those that'll dress up and those that won't.
Seabury has helped run the business for more than 20 years, and though she did admit that sales could be better, she was quick to mention that they could also be worse.
It's better than it was 2020. We're going to get better in 22.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Tate Lakecraft, and happy Halloween. At Father Gorman School is using grant money to give back to the community. Our Jasmine King has the details.
The Faith Integration Team at the Lloydminster Catholic School Division provides Mercy grants to classes across the division for projects. And this class at Father Gorman used their grant to help mothers and babies in the community.
We chose to purchase some baby sleep sacks, and then my students created and hand draw some art in order to digitize and then place on the baby sleep sacks with a theme of corporal works of mercy for the church. And then we took those baby sleep sacks and we donated them to the St. Anthony's Parish Council in order to give to mothers in need who are looking for something in order to dress their babies in as we approach a cold winter.
With the grant the class received, Cherry tried coming up with an idea that would interest his students and make them excited to participate.
I see my students every day. They do a really great job with their art, so I really wanted to incorporate it. Like, we have so many good artists in the school, and it's a nice way to display it. The idea for the baby sleep sacks is I'm a father myself, so I really like to, anytime I can give other parents something to help out their little babies and help out those in need, it's just a good way to give back.
With the designs on the backs of the sleepers being created and drawn on by the students, they enjoyed the chance to be creative while giving back to community members.
This was great because I know I was helping someone, even if it was just like with drawing. And I know that those sleepers will go and help mothers that need them.
It is enjoyable because we get to help other people and do a teamwork together.
They hope their Mercy Project can inspire others to give back to their community. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
The trucking industry is facing challenges in finding new drivers to keep up with the demanding supply chain. For more on the struggle, we throw to Josh Howerlook.
Today, I'm joined by Manzoor Ahmed from the Hashmite Ventures Limited Driving School here in Lloydminster to talk a little bit about what's going on within the trucking industry. So to start, could you maybe tell me what are some of the issues that the industry is facing right now?
So first of all, Josh, thank you very much for having me. I am really honored for that. So right now, the trucking industry is little bit a shortage of drivers. Like they got some vacancies till 023, 3,000, over 3,000 vacancies for the new drivers. And then down by from 21 to 25, they are thinking that there would be shortage of about 17,000 drivers. So it's very hard to get the new and experienced, with the experienced guys, especially in this oil patch Midwest region.
And what do you think needs to change in order to get more drivers out working?
The first thing is, we have been like this COVID, and then especially in this region, the oil patch has gone down for the last 6-7 years. People who were experienced, they were here, and now they are quitting. They have gone back and they want to change their profession because there's not much left in the trucking. It's picking up again now, but it might take a little bit time because they will hire new drivers, and the old drivers, they don't want to come back. Some they want, some they don't want. So the experienced guys are gone, and then the new guys, they are coming up, but what then the company's insurance go up because they need, like especially in oil patch, they need a 3 years experience for that particular field. If he is hauling oil or water, they want 3 years experience. So that is one cause that people have the license, but they can't because they don't have a 3 years experience.
And have you seen for yourself more people coming out trying to get their class 3 or class 1 licenses?
Yes, I do have majority is the class 1, and that is funded through the government. So it helps the employer and it helps the individual. And same as class 3, mostly the guy, they pay it from their own pocket. And, but then with class 3, it's a less opening. With class 1, you got bigger opening. So people like to go by the class 1. Yeah.
So what do you think needs to change in order to get more people with their class 1 or class 3 licenses working?
There nothing could be done because after that humble accident, so they organized and make it a proper, the way it should be. Like you should have full information about the trucking, the classroom laws, signs, everything. And previously it wasn't that hard. So you need to have those training. That is, I think, a good idea. Now, the only thing is it can be improved, like mostly the bigger companies, they can get away with the job grant easily. They can get it improved, approved, and they know the procedures. But same as I said, the individuals who doesn't work for any company, they don't have experience, they are really feeling challenged and they want to get the license, but they can't help it. So if something can be done for the individuals individually, either by the banks or by the government or whosoever, so or the some job grant, if they want to put it a loan or something like that, that is going to really help and it will improve the shortage.
So that's all the questions I had. Is there anything else that you'd maybe like to add?
No, I just like to say thank you for that. And I'm really happy that government is trying to help the people, and they are getting their job grant, and everybody is happy, and they are getting the drivers, and that's a really good program. And I really like that. And schools are we are doing our best to our maximum capacity to educate the people.
Great. Thank you for taking this time to meet with me.
Now, for your first look heading into this Halloween weekend, we check in with Jasmine King.
Thank you, Tate. As you guys can tell, I am ready for Halloween. This was kind of a last-minute costume, but I think it gets the point across. I don't know what I quite am yet, but I still like it. But we are here at 7 degrees in the border city, so we did have a bit of a cooler day, but nothing too much. But as we look right now around the region, that seems to be a common temperature throughout. 7 degrees in Marwayne, Vermilion, and Wainwright, and as well as Bonnyville and Cold Lake. And then we can see 6 degrees in Provost and Macklin, as well as Vegreville and St. Paul. And as we look over at the Saskatchewan side, they are a little bit warmer, but still not too warm. So we can see 9 in Meadow Lake and Green Lake, and then North Battleford is also at 9. But throughout the week, we asked you to submit pictures to our Facebook page of what your houses look like decorated. So thank you, Rena, for submitting this picture of your house so we can see she's got quite a bit of decoration. So I would be scared if I walked past this house, if I'm being honest. And then this, thank you, Melissa, for submitting this. That beautiful sunset that we had the other day, that pink sky, I think it really helps out with your decorations. You know, it helps them out a bit. But as we look again, thank you, Hillary, for submitting this. And look at your house. I really love all the pumpkins and all the lights, so that should be a hit on Halloween night. But as we look at your temperature on Halloween night, we can see that it's 3 degrees, so it will be a little bit colder compared to tomorrow, where we have that high of 5 degrees with that sun. But as we look at Monday, that will also be 3 degrees with sun. So on Sunday for Halloween, make sure the kids are, if they're heading out trick-or-treating, they got jackets, because it might be a colder one, but we are around the right averages for this time of year. So we might be a little bit chilly for Halloween, but I think it'll still be a fun night. But we'll have more news coming up after the break.
Alberta RCMP is warning farmers to be careful when purchasing or selling their hay or cattle online. Jillian Code cracks the code.
After a historically dry growing season, animal feed is in short supply across Western Canada. Some farmers have resorted to buying hay online, while others have decided to cull their herd. RCMP warned that both of these avenues can open farmers up to scammers. In early September, RCMP made 2 arrests in connection to fraudulent cattle purchases in Tofield, Westlock, Thorsby, and Lloydminster.
These cattle were purchased with fraudulent checks, and then the cattle were transported out of province, without a brand inspection. And so in this case, the fraudulent check, the checks would have been possibly not a certified check or a bank draft.
13 head of cattle were recovered, but RCMP say there may be more involved.
In this case, there's some concern that these individuals are believed to have been involved in similar business transactions. And so the RCMP are asking anyone with information about any similar incidents to contact the Alberta RCMP Livestock Investigations Unit directly, or they can report it to their local RCMP detachment if they're in RCMP jurisdiction.
RCMP have released tips for farmers to help spot a scammer. These include persistent selling, too good to be true prices, and minimal contact once receiving a payment. RCMP say that over $64,000 has been scammed from farmers in 2021, but estimate the figure may be considerably higher as they assume not all cases have been reported.
And if the buyer isn't willing to work with that, and if they're pressuring you or pushing you, that's a red flag. Because often people who are scamming we're trying to pressure you into releasing those animals without payment, there's something going on. You should be a little bit concerned and look into it further.
Anyone suspecting they may have been a victim to a scam is encouraged to reach out to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. For Primetime Local News, I'm Jillian Code.
I guess you can't always trust a farmer, but at least you can trust us for your agriculture prices. On Wednesday, the Lloydminster Bobcats started their 3-game homestand with a loss to the Spruce Grove Saints. For more on this weekend's coming matchups, we check in with Evan Kenny.
After 2 periods on Wednesday night, the Lloydminster Bobcats were trailing 2-1. Four goals were scored in the span of 6.5 minutes for a final score of 6-1.
The consistency of our group here the last few games as we get into some penalty trouble, and the special teams is a game of momentum, and I understand that the shots were a little bit lopsided, but a lot of those shots came on the special teams of the power play. I thought some of our goals were goals that we should have had back, and led to that, and then we took a penalty again, put them back onto the power play. So when you're trying to climb the hill and instead of climbing it up, you're putting a scoop on top to make it a little bit taller.
The Bobcats will play again Saturday and Sunday, looking to bounce back against 2 southern opponents.
Well, we got to stay out of the penalty box. That's the first and foremost. Secondly, we got to play a tough game, and we got to play it for 60 minutes. And then third, we got to find more ways to generate second and third opportunities off first pucks. And
while the Bobcats may have lost, fans are winning.
We'd wing Wednesday on Wednesday night. This morning here we were out in the community and took 160 trick-or-treat bags to Pioneer Lodge. We took over the Student of the Month to a few schools, and then we went over to Boundary Ford, where tomorrow night at 7:30 we're going to pack the Bronco with new winter clothes for both school divisions.
I'm dressed up as one of the Bobcats. Kids 12 and under can dress up for Sunday's game and get in for free. The first 100 will also receive a free popcorn. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now we're going to throw to Jasmine King for your second look at weather tonight.
Well, I'll be honest, Evan might have me beat in the costume department. I at least know what he is. I still haven't quite figured out what I am. But as we're looking at your temperatures here across the region, still at 7 degrees in the border city, as well as in Cold Lake and in Red Deer. And as we move into the western part of Alberta, we can see that 4 is pretty consistent throughout, but Rocky Mountain House is at 0 there. But as we look at the Saskatchewan side, they are a bit warmer. Prince Albert's even at double digits at 10 degrees. Meadow Lake, North Battleford, and Saskatoon are all at 9, and then Melfort is at 8. But as we look up to your northern region, La Ronge is at 10, and we can see as it gets closer to the north, it does get colder, so Uranium City and Stony Rapids are at 2 degrees, and Wollaston Lake is at 3, with Flin Flon at 7, and as we look at the Alberta side, Peace River and Slave Lake are at 5 degrees, and Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie are at 4, as well as High Level, and Fort Chipewyan is down at 2 degrees. But that is a similar story that we're seeing in the south, as they are pretty cold, with Calgary still at 2. Banff and Medicine Hat are both at 1, and Lethbridge is down at 0 degrees. But as we look at Estevan, we can see there is a complete difference going from 0 there to 18 in Estevan. So they're getting pretty warm temperatures still throughout this time of year. Moose Jaw is at 11, while Regina is at 12, and Yorkton is at 9 degrees. But as we look at your national forecast, we can see there's pretty consistent temperatures throughout most of this map. Toronto is at 11 and Halifax and Winnipeg are both at 10 degrees. Quebec City is at 9 and St. John's is down at 4 as well as Iqaluit. But Yellowknife is at 0, Whitehorse is at 1 and Vancouver is at double digits at 10 degrees. But as we look tomorrow at your temperatures on this Saturday, Marwayne, Vermilion, Wainwright, and Lloydminster are all at 5, as well as Vegreville and Edmonton. St. Paul and Bonnyville, as well as Lac La Biche, are at 4 degrees. And then as we can see on the Saskatchewan side, Maidstone and North Battleford are also at that 4-degree range. But as we get higher north into our region, Meadow Lake, Green Lake, and Isle Cross are all sitting at 5 degrees. But as we look at your 7-day forecast for your Halloween temperatures, like I mentioned, it will be a bit colder at 3 degrees. So those kids are going to need to be warm if they are going outside for trick-or-treating. And even you adults, if you're taking your kids out, you might want to get a bit of a lighter jacket on. But as we look at Monday, they have the high of 3 degrees, as well as on Tuesday. But Tuesday and Wednesday both have that mix of sun and cloud. But as we head further into next week, we are getting a bit warmer, but a bit warmer is still only at 4 degrees. But as we can see, it is sunny on both days. But that is a look at your 7-day forecast, and we'll have more news after the break.
Down on the bottom, no place to go but up. Always been in trouble, nearly all my life.
I'm joined today by Colin James here on Primetime Local News. Colin is a familiar face, been around first in Saskatchewan, where you grew up in Regina, and now you get to live out in sunny BC. Thanks for joining us today, Colin.
All right, thank you.
Well, Colin, we're looking forward to seeing your performance here next month in Lloydminster. And this is coming on the heels of an album that's to be released next week called Open Road. Tell me about the album.
Well, Open Road is a third of a kind of a trilogy of records, starting with Blue Highways in 2016, I guess, 2017. And then Miles to Go is the one we did previously. All these records kind of bring me back to some of my favorite blues songs that I grew up with, and kind of reintroducing me to an audience south of the border in the blues world, where we've been kind of living a little more in lately. And so it's the third of that record. I recorded all three with the same co-producer named David Mazzaros. David's a young computer engineer, sound guy who also works in the music business and the management business, but he lives in London, England. He used to live here. We did the first 2 records here. And on this record, because of the pandemic, of course, we did it all remotely. He would take over my computer. I would sit here and watch his mouse crossfading and editing and helping me make sure I placed my microphones on the cone of the speakers the correct way. So I had to learn how to engineer my own record, which is a bit new for me. I've always engineered my studio a little bit, but mostly for songwriting, not necessarily records. So, yeah.
Now,
so that's it. That's this record. And it's, I suppose the only other thing I should say is you don't want to make the same record every time. So this record, we tried to, a couple songs are maybe a little more contemporary than the other records were.
The single that's out now, Colin, Down on the Bottom, had a chance to watch the video for that. Where was that shot? Because it looks kind of like the prairies.
Yeah, we picked it for that reason. It's actually right here in Vancouver. It's in the south, towards Ladner, where a lot of the gardens are and big greenhouses. And we found a perfect dirt road. It was a private dirt road, and the owner was nice enough to let us film. But we had no idea that train was coming by. Like, I knew there was trains on that track, but one of the happiest accidents of the whole day, and we did it all in 2 days, because we did some in morning light. We did the other, when we did the transitions, we had that golden hour to work with. And the train just came by us during the last take, and I went, oh my God, don't break, like, you wanted to look. So I had to keep playing and not look, because we were getting a pretty good take out of it. So I enjoyed the process a lot.
So what's it like now that you're going to go back touring? There's been so much that musicians have had to stop during the pandemic, not live shows and just doing a lot online. Is it a much bigger deal to tour now? Is there a lot more things you have to consider?
Well, yeah, I mean, just because of restrictions and potential restrictions on this tour, we're pretty unencumbered in the fact that it's a double vaccine situation. In some couple shows, they're hot spots. We've had to, well, we don't know for sure yet, but I might have to do 2 shows in one night, which is pretty taxing when you haven't worked for a while to do 4 shows in a row in 2 days. That might be tough, but I'm happy to be back out there. I've got a new member from, like I say, he's a Canadian, but he's been living in Austin for 5 years. And he's coming up for this as well. And I'm looking forward to, we're having some rehearsal here and then hitting the road. I got Steve Mariner on harmonica, who's just absolutely fantastic. I'd have to venture to say Steve Mariner is one of the best harmonica players Canada, if not North America, has ever produced. I just love his playing. He's playing bass with me as well. And the other guy is Anders Drerup on the other guitar. And he was actually on The Voice last year or 2 years ago.
When people are coming out to these shows, Colin, do you still play some of the original classics that, from the late 80s, Voodoo Thing, 5 Long Years, Dream of Satin, that type of thing? Or have you gotten away from that and sticking more to the later stuff that you've produced?
20 records gives you a lot of room to move. And I do some of it. Like you mentioned 2 that I may not do.
Right.
But Voodoo Thing I'll do occasionally. If it's better in a rock set. It's better in a full band setting.
Right.
I don't mind. I mean, it's okay. But I think there's songs that suit the format better than that song would. But I do, we do Just Came Back. We do 5 Long Years. We do Why July, So Keep On Loving Me, Baby. We do that. And then it's just trying to, introduce some of the new material. And the nicest thing about these acoustic shows, I always forget how much I love them because they got more space. They have more potential for moments. I love the full band thing, but it tends to be, it's a bit more of an onslaught. And we'll be doing that soon enough as well, because we're going to do this smaller tour, get our feet wet again, and get the hands working again. Nothing replicates playing live, and you could sit in woodshed in a room forever. It's not going to have the same adrenaline, the same things that you've done all your life. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. And in the new year, we'll probably end up going from east to west on a Canadian tour, February or so. We haven't announced it yet. And then we're straight off to play with Buddy Guy on a string of shows through the States. And I'm super excited about that. We started in Beverly Hills the day after Vancouver. We're straight down and we're off for like another 3 weeks. So it's going to be a crazy amount of playing comparatively to the last 2 years.
Well, Colin, it sounds like you've got so much on the go, and we're so excited that you're coming to Lloydminster. It's just great to see talent like yours coming out to see us. So November 20th here in Lloydminster. And if anybody is looking to get the album when it's out next week, or even listen to the single, what's the best place to find all of that information on you?
ColinJames.com. It's there. And we have a YouTube channel as well where we've done these series called On the Couch. Me and my wife during the pandemic, just to keep busy and keep playing, did a few, went over the different guitars and some of the gear, and we just stories about songs and stuff like that. But ColinJames.com, all the dates are on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today, Colin, and we'll see you in Lloydminster in a few weeks.
Pleasure.
Coming up tomorrow, get the kids in their Halloween costume and take them out to the Border City Farmers Market at the Service Sports Center. The Border City Farmers Market is inviting you to trick or treat with the vendors tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. And while you're at the Border City Farmers Market, make sure you keep your eyes open for folks from Labus. They might be on hand selling tickets in their vacation raffle. And the grand prize draw for the vacation raffle is coming up on Monday. So make sure you get a ticket so that you're in for a chance to win the grand prize, a $10,000 travel voucher or $8,000 cash. For more details, visit Labus on Facebook. There's so many great Halloween decorations in the city, and you know what? The Lloyd X has got another great raffle that you're going to want to get a ticket for. It's their bread heifer raffle, and if you're the grand prize winner, you get to choose. Do you want the bread heifers or do you want $100,000 cash? Limited tickets are available for this raffle, and the draw is coming up on Friday, November the 5th. So get your ticket before they're gone. Stop by the Lloyd X for more details. The Clandonald Community Hall is hosting a Remembrance Day supper coming up on Thursday, November the 11th. For the meal, they're going to be serving up a turkey and all the fixings, but you do need to pre-order your plate so that you can pick up that delicious meal on November the 11th. All proceeds will go to renovations at the Clandonald Community Hall. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Joining us today for this week's entertainment panel is the lovely Abby St. John. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks, Shelby.
Of course, anytime. So now it is our final entertainment panel before Halloween here. We had a lot of good Halloween topics throughout October, and today we're ending off just before Halloween hits Sunday. Now we're going to be talking about the Lightyear trailer that looks amazing. A lot of talk on it. Of course, Chris Evans voicing Buzz Lightyear there. He's very excited about it from everything that he's posting on his social media. So it looks very interesting how it's going to be just about Buzz Lightyear, kind of his definitive origin story and everything. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so just a couple notes when you first watch the trailer, very different from Toy Story. There's no emphasis on him being a toy throughout the whole movie. As long as at least that's what the teaser trailer kind of showcased. It's more so just following Buzz going on an actual space exploration and being an actual astronaut. So that's very interesting. It's a different take on, you know, the Toy Story toy. And yeah, like you said, Chris Evans, he's voicing Buzz, and he's very, very excited about it. He's been posting on all of his social medias how excited he is for us to see it, and, you know, just being able to voice this iconic character is very exciting. Now, the trailer looks fantastic. It looks very interesting. It keeps your interest kind of piqued when you watch it, and you want to know what the rest of the movie is going to be about, and, you know, the struggles that he may face, you know, typical Disney Pixar type movie. And they have that classic To Infinity and Beyond. That's kind of the focus of the trailer, you know, because how iconic that line is. And it's going to be coming out summer of 2022. So that's very exciting. We only have to wait little less than a year for it. So I'm very excited to see it. It's definitely going to be a different take on the iconic Toy Story toy. So I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, it does look very fascinating, especially how, you know, people are saying that not a lot of people were asking for this, but of course, you know, when the trailer came out, everyone's like, this is interesting that they're going to be able to focus on one of the lead toys of Toy Story, just on their background and their backstory and everything. So I'm excited, and seeing how Chris Evans is so pumped about it, it looks really cute, and I'm really happy to see that he's going to have the chance to be able to voice him. And now the next topic is talking about the great movie Dune that is out now. It has great reviews so far from what we're seeing from the audience score, especially on Rotten Tomatoes. It got 83% for Rotten Tomatoes and 91% for the audience score. And, you know, it's had great success, and I have yet to heard a bad thing about it. And part 2 is even already talked about for in October 2023.
Yeah, it's been confirmed. Legendary tweeted out saying that it is confirmed. There were rumors previously that if they got enough views on HBO Max that there will be a sequel. So obviously that is now in the works. Like you said, it has a critic rating of 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's certified fresh and has a 91% audience rating. So it's gotten great reviews. People seem to love it, especially the audiences. And despite it also streaming on HBO Max, it has a box office pull of $223.2 million. So that's fantastic for a movie, especially with it already being on a streaming service. So that's very exciting. It proves that people are really interested in this movie. The storyline, the actors that are involved in this movie, people are interested. And so Dune will be getting a sequel. It has been confirmed, and it has been confirmed that it will be titled Dune Part 2. So who knows if it's going to be a continuation on the end. Hopefully it will be. And it's going to be interesting to see what more they can do with this movie, and if there's going to be even more, a part 3 maybe. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it, and it is aimed to be released on October 20th of 2023. So that in itself is very exciting, that we already have a set date for it to being released. So I'm very excited to see where they go with this and see if they, do turn it into a franchise, because that has been done in the past, whether it's been successful or not. So hopefully it continues down that success road, as it already is so successful.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to actually go see it myself. I think the only unfortunate thing I heard, especially for all the Zendaya, diehard fans of Zendaya, that apparently, she's showing so much in the, the ads for it and everything, and a lot of promotion with Zendaya, but apparently she has probably around like 7 minutes of screen time, which I thought was kind of unfortunate, just being a Zendaya fan myself. But I'm sure the movie is still excellent, of course, and they're gonna do what's gonna make people want to go into the theaters and see it, of course. But it's gonna be fascinating to see, especially the second one, especially how fast they are already announcing that it's gonna be coming out in 2023. But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again so much for joining us today, Abby.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more local news for you in the next hour here, but for now, I'm Tate Lake Craft. See you in the next hour.